It's not always okay.
What, you seen too many of
I
the,
like to keep my job.
that's fair.
What do we all?
All right, I love how we won't even have the conversation nowadays. It's just like, no, I've seen it.
Bro, I've seen some.
Those are funny though.
I've seen some pretty funny, like, when people are like on Zoom calls. and
That's
they're
what I'm
like-
saying.
Doing TikTok thing.
No, not even.
I saw that.
I feel like the person would be doing something they're not supposed to be doing, and they don't put their seats and put them on mute. And like, so the
Yeah.
whole classroom hears.
Oh, you talking about a video that girl? Oh.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
What are you doing? Are you okay, Elizabeth? All right, so today we're gonna start transformations. I'm not gonna, like, I don't wanna like get your expectations up too high. This is probably my favorite
They're
thing.
not.
Hold on. This is probably my favorite thing about Algebra 2. And my favorite thing to do does not mean that I teach it the best. Because, you know, great little mathematical truism, things that I never struggled with are really hard for me to explain. However, maybe, I don't know, I've put a lot of effort into explaining them better, and I'm trying more than I have in the past. Not like I wasn't trying before, but like I'm trying, I always try to do something new, I'll see how it goes. But transformations are a huge, this is, knowing your family of functions and transformations makes you able to see a function written out and just know exactly what it does, when it does it, and how it goes. Never having to even go to like Desmos, your graphic calculator, or any technology. You will be a computer. And it's not like, ooh, you're gonna be like doing a whole bunch of calculations. I graph things without calculating. All right, it's not, oh, look, he's so smart that he just knows where all that stuff. It's gonna, like, everyone can do it once you see how they work. So I'm gonna show you how graphs and functions work from their parents. Everybody ready-ish?
What if one doesn't know his parents?
The parent functions, you gotta know those. Ancestry.com.
Thank you.
Oh, I have one of those.
Ancestry.com.
It's normal.
Yes, I was talking about it.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. All right, here's, so like, there's a couple different breakdowns that you have to have. Did you record? No, I did, but like, there's like every time there's like a small ding or dong or whatever. And I don't know if it's me going insane and I'm hearing it, or if I'm actually hearing it.
I heard a dong.
We're both going crazy.
Are you talking about that somebody's trying to get into your classroom?
But it's not like the hello, like the waiting room knock is a little bit different. It's not that one, it's the I actually enter. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which is slightly different, I don't know. Or it's the sound when someone leaves, I don't remember now. All right, here's the very first thing you have to look at. Whenever, first of all transformations are gonna show up as multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction with a number. So it'll be like 3 times, or +3, or -3, or -1 times, or a half of. So it's gonna be a number. If you see a variable, that's not a transformation, all right? It's gonna be a number doing basic math. And by basic math, I mean math that you did in elementary school. Not exponents, because they change shapes completely, all right? So that's what the transformations are, right? Anything else is part of a parent in some sort, or a family merger, which we're not gonna deal with yet. All right, the big thing you have to know, and for today, I'm gonna do just absolute value, because absolute value is a fun function. I have like, I'm not tired, but I keep trying to yawn in the middle of talking, that's just bad.
Yeah.
All right, absolute value is a good thing because it shows almost all of our transformations really well. And you know, it's this guy, and you can move him around, like making do jumping jacks and things, and move all over the place. And it will get us through most of our transformations without it being really bad math. If that makes any sense? So it's easy to transform and see transformations. So that's what we're going to do today. First thing you have to do is figure out whether the transformation is inside the function or outside of the function. And it's hard to describe. Every time I've tried teaching before, I'd be like, when you look at it, it's inside. So the function itself for absolute value is the absolute value symbols, right? In between the absolute value symbols is an inside the function transformation. And that's gonna change things horizontally. Don't know horizontal and vertical? Don't know how to keep them straight?
No.
Yes, vertical is up, horizontal is.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
I'm
I was
about to say something else, but I don't know.
I was
Did I
making
say
sure I
it?
didn't say something else.
I were. Oh, I'm glad because I wasn't gonna speak, to be honest. I was just gonna let it right out.
There's lots of. My much older sister's teenage boyfriend taught me how to keep vertical and horizontal straight. I'm not doing it here. But like I've never messed it up since then. So there was that.
See, I think those are the best. I think the bad ones stick in your mind the worst.
If you were a mildly immature teenage boy, you will it'll stick in your head and you won't ever forget it and you'll have it forever. You'll know horizontal goes this way and vertical goes that way.
I want to know now.
Me too.
I really don't want to see him.
All I'm going to say is they both have to, like your immature teenage boy, they both have to do with women.
Come on, give me a second.
That's all I'm going to say.
Can I demonstrate it? I'm behind the camera.
No, because like the whole microphone's on there. I'm letting you know. That is where I ended it. I never went past that point. I let their imagination go. I am not responsible for their imagination.
Why
in any
would I
way.
add sound effects?
No,
That is.
that was the end of the whole thing. Just know that there are ways to remember horizontal and vertical. You can remember, you use the ones that work for you, and you don't tell me about them. And I won't tell you about mine.
I think we talk about it next.
Yeah. All right. So inside the function is horizontal. That's every single number in here is only going to affect how it goes out. Does that make sense? At least for right now. It's not going to change anything up and down. It's only going to change its across, how it moves left and right. Anything outside of that area, is going to change how it moves up and down and not do any effects left and right. Which is kind of nice, because when I see like a whole bunch of numbers in the function, right, I'll know I only have to deal with like certain things at a time. Like I can look inside the absolute value symbols and know that everything there only moves it left and right. And I can just think about that graph with this left-right movement. And then everything that's on the outside only moves it up and down. So I can deal with just an up-down movement. Does that make sense? A little bit. So if I see 4 or 5 numbers and things going on here, I'm not looking at them all at once. I'll look at these guys and do all of that stuff, get that right. And then I'll look at those and do all of those things and get that right. All right, it's not me having to do 5 and 6 operations in my head. Yeah, I guess I can have 6. 6 is probably the most transformations I can have, other than a family merger. Okay-ish? I'm getting ready to see how okay it is. It's like 2 seconds. Actually do the practice problems so I know whether I need to talk about it anymore or not.
Why does this say question? Oh, 1 out of 7. Okay, it's just sounds like.
Yeah. Question 1 out of 7. You virtual people, it'd be awesome if you did it. Just so I know what I have to talk about and how much more I have to talk about. I'm also trying to figure out a way to fix this whole screen thing where it doesn't show up well. I'm making some.
That's homeboy getting like busted.
Is that, you just hit the power button?
No, okay, down. My phone's charging. Right?
Oh, that might be it. Okay, and that's why I was starting to panic. Because my camera cord, if I don't have it like just right, it'll do the same thing. Okay. We're not going crazy.
So
Or at least that's not why we're going crazy.
does it tell you if you're wrong afterwards?
When everyone's done, I hit the share button and let you know how you did. It's like that because I could build it into, sometimes I have it built in as a test.
Whoa, you talking about like a pop?
No, like I could give a test on Nearpod, like a little quiz section in there. I like doing that because then I can send everyone different ones.
I was wondering if this blue check mark meant I was doing one.
No, that means you entered it.
Yeah, I know. So now I don't feel too good. Yes.
You're doing fine. I've tried walking this down slow enough, well, not say slow. I tried breaking this up into its pieces better than I have before so that I don't make it overwhelming. There's a lot that goes into transformations. A lot that goes into transformations. Once you get them though, you never lose your transformation skills and you can do pretty much anything. Once you, as a little pep talk, once you understand transformations, that's it, you're a mathematician, period. That's gonna be interesting. You're getting there. Morning, Jamin.
Good morning.
You're gonna like, we'll talk about these questions here in a second. It's not as hard as it's gonna look. We're doing transformations. It's gonna be good stuff. I hope. If you're not sure, you can just bubble.
What does that mean?
That means guess.
Okay, because that's what I did.
I guess on all of them.
That's not good. I mean, it's better than whatever, but I see that we're not bad. We either really get this or we probably don't.
Or we're good guess.
I didn't understand.
You're not gonna guess them all correctly if you have a 50-50 chance each time for 7 questions.
Little do you
But
know,
I'll at least get most of that.
You're not
little
gonna
do you
guess.
know, I know the algorithm in which it mixes up the answers in which I can go 2, 2, 1, 3, 2.
It's not an accurate answers, I picked them.
Well, that's pretty trash. Then I know you too well to know your algorithm and what you would put, so therefore I made a 100. Boom, bam, pow.
Makara, you're probably using Chrome, aren't you? Which browser are you using? I'm gonna ask it anyways. This probably isn't the problem. But, if you're using Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer, it won't let you, oh, I mean, at the end, it won't let you submit? Let me look real quick. Hold on. Oh. and you're in Chrome, and it won't let you go to the next. It will let you choose the answer, right? Like, I'm not saying that's right, but it lets you select that. Sometimes it won't let you skip a question. All right, never mind. Trying to think of what. Someone had an issue similar to that before.
They had to restart.
Sometimes try to refresh the page. I'm sure that you would have tried that too. But if you try it, sometimes if it doesn't fully load the whole thing the first time, but it loads enough for it like be kind of functional, you'll get stuck there. That doesn't happen often, but I've seen it happen a couple of times on different things. Usually if my internet connection got bumpy just at the wrong time, or if Nearpod server's connection got bumpy just at the wrong time. I've gotten like part of a quiz and like, I know there's 4 other questions and I get stuck and can't see the others. I'm hoping that's it because those are the easy fixes I know. What else would cause? You're in. Should let you get to question 2. Okay, it should have let you do that one because it sent it to me. So I think I'm hoping that it's okay now. And it's about time for me to start talking about stuff. Okay, awesome. Hold on, pause. I'm going to share everybody's results. I know you need to see all the questions, but then after that, I'm going to go through them. And you should be able to stay with us at that point. And I'm sorry, but there's more coming and it's going to get better. I hope. All right. First, oh, come on. This lets you know how well you're doing. And how much you have to absolutely pay attention.
Okay.
Mine's pretty great because I didn't answer any questions.
Yes, sir, I got most of them right.
I got 5 of them right.
I got all.
Told you I was gonna get most of them.
Hey, I got 57.
Wait, go back.
Hold on.
Go back.
Now I'm gonna go over things. All right, so I'm on question 1. Pay attention.
I got the first one right.
The number 2 is inside the absolute value symbols, right? That makes it horizontal. Every single time, if the 2, we're looking at just the number 2 for its transformation. Transformations can be any number. I picked 2 just so that the numbers themselves won't cause problems. It's gonna get better.
Does it
Or
just
harder.
have to be the number, or does it also have to be the X as well? All of it. All of it?
Transformations, well, because you can have multiple transformations. A transformation is a number doing multiplication, division, addition, subtraction,
Yeah,
entering into one of these parent functions.
okay.
You'll notice in the parent functions, there's never any multiplying, dividing, adding, or subtracting by a number.
Mhm.
Right? So a number coming into the function in one of those operations is a transformation.
Mhm.
It changes it. If it goes inside the parent function, which sometimes is hard to see, that's like the biggest thing to see. If it goes inside the parent function, it's horizontal. If it just sits on the outside and the function does its thing and then has that math, then it's vertical. Does that make a little bit of sense? So here, before the function's thing is absolute value. Before the function gets to do its thing, it has to subtract 2. That makes it horizontal. Horizontals come first, or they're inside the function, that would happen before the parent function does its thing, and H comes before B in the alphabet, before P, right? So that's why I think, okay, horizontals would affect the X or would affect the function before the function does its thing. There's lots of ways for me to explain this, and I don't want to be so much that it gets confusing, but if I'm already confused you, let me know. This guy, the -2, I'm on question 2, by the way. -2 is on the outside of the absolute value symbol. Outside is vertical.
That's 2.
This one, dividing by 2 is inside the absolute value symbol there. That makes it horizontal. That make sense? X does divide by 2 and then does absolute value. This time, the 2 is on the outside of the absolute value symbol. That makes it vertical. Here, I'm on question 5, by the way. Absolute value of X, then +2, that's outside the absolute value symbol. That makes it vertical. And then it's the absolute value of X plus 2. So X plus 2, the +2 is inside, that makes it horizontal. That's number 6. And the last one, it's the absolute value of 2 times X. You do 2 times X and then you do absolute value. That makes it, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. That makes it horizontal because that's inside the absolute value symbol. Does that make sense? A little bit?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, you literally are just looking and saying, is it inside? Is that number 2 inside the absolute value symbol? If it's inside, it's horizontal. Horizontal, I'm trying to think what things I've had to say. I've had people, I've heard it explained as like horizontals are like inside the house or inside home where your parents would be. So if I'm because H looks like a home, right? If I'm inside the home, it's horizontal. If I'm outside, it's vertical.
If you're inside, you finish slump, you finish sleep. You outside, you playing, you in the streets. You doing what you gotta do, you vertical. You ain't if you horizontal in the streets, then you lacking.
At least you got it.
I'm not going to argue with anything that gets the right conclusions.
You gotta be straight up.
Everybody good?
If that helps people learn it,
Whatever works. Works. All right. Here's the second one. This one right here is where some people start getting tripped up. All right, rule 2, look on your Nearpod screen. Right. Your Y's do exactly what your verticals, your Y value, and verticals like your Y-axis and your Y values and your points and all that stuff, they do exactly what they say. If it says +2, you literally go up 2. If it says ×2, that thing really got twice as big. Y's are honest. That's why we like them. They are honest. Right? Here's where it comes. Horizontals are X things, and your X is a liar. Mathematically, it's helpful if all your X's were liars, because mathematically, it's true. All right. The algebra conquers reality. I will change your reality if it makes the algebra work. Because then, you'll be fine.
well, you can't change it, you can alter.
Change reality.
Change the reality.
Yeah. You can change the past.
You can alter that.
So,
Well, you ready for me to change the past? You got like everything that's going on, right? If If you find out that one of your teachers from last semester
Yeah.
was really an evil person, and
Yeah.
everything they're doing was really just conniving in a big giant scheme for a big thing, fraud, everything that you thought was true about them before, every experience you had has now changed. It went from, oh yeah, he was like trying to help me out and did everything right. Well, no, now he was trying to gain my trust. He was trying to cheat me out of something. Past has changed. Your perspective of the past changes that way. Now, I can't change facts of what this happened and that happened. Granted that. But you're
See,
out.
that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I'm like, my graduate class right now is a philosophy class, so I end up having to get way too deep and figurative. Because that's all my papers are about now. I'll go back to normal reality soon, once I get out of it.
No, honestly, regular reality is lame. Don't come back.
All right, so horizontal transformations are an X thing. Your X is a liar, right? If your X says I'm going this way, the function's actually gonna go that way. Like literally that's what happens. It does the opposite.
Yeah.
If the X says I'm gonna spin like this, it's actually gonna spin the other way. Crazy. Every single thing it says is going to do the exact opposite. If it says it's gonna get twice as big, it's really gonna get half as big or half as small. Every single thing, if it says that way, it's gonna go that way. Right? Your ex says he's just a friend, he's not just a friend.
Yo.
Exactly.
This is how I'm remembering. I'm so glad you brought that up.
I mean,
Why? Why? That's what the good guy asked when she being a right? And then ex-boy come out of nowhere and you like, who are you? And he like, ah. Bet.
I'm not hanging out with him, he's my brother's friend. No, he's not.
No, he's not. Your brother doesn't have any friends.
That's right. Her brother's a dork that has nobody that's a friend, especially not a
He's
Friends like
my
that.
distance brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it all, bro. That's my cousin.
He's a friend of the family. No, he's not. Family doesn't even know his name.
Bro, that's my cousin, man. Like,
Man, let me tell you
All right.
something though. You try to have friends that are girls though. Woo!
exactly.
Shit, the girl that is your friend will get her butt kicked, and then she gonna end up trying to slap you. And it's just
What is it? It's confession through projection. Be wary of the people that think you're always doing something wrong and trying to lie to them, because there's a good chance that they
Or doing it.
see the world like that and they think that's what people do, which means they're probably a liar.
or just every girl here is just whack and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So.
Or, and like now I can do the innocent side of that.
From here, so be quiet.
If I can do the innocent side of that, on the other hand, some people have been like mistreated so long and like always get lied, but they just start to accept that as normal.
Exactly. That's how.
So like, there's two sides of that. It can,
Or there's
they have the
two
exact same
things
result because they're evil or because they've been
I
dealing
would
with
think.
evil.
Or
Roll the dice, take your
or-
chance.
give me on this one. I'll come to it. Give me
Okay.
a second. This is a very, very long topic.
If you're ever gonna take a screenshot of anything in this class and like write down things, this next slide, I think is awesome. It might be horrible.
I swear, if it's a teacher thing, hold on, let's see it.
All right, this is ways that the X will appear and what it's actually doing.
Wait. You go.
So if the X says, let's hear it, X minus 3 says it's going to the left, it's really going to the right.
Dang.
If it says it's going to the right, it's really going to the left.
He's expanding, I'm streaking.
You know, if he says I'm on a diet, I'm working out, he's sitting on the couch eating chips, he's not really doing
Squeezing
it.
it. This is great. I am gonna. How
All
do I
right.
do this? How do I do this?
The only thing that's tricky is a negative X says, I'm gonna flip this way, and the opposite of that is just flipping the other way, so it ends up being the same result. That's the only one right there that's really tricky, which is why I did the whole arrows going the other direction, because it ends up looking the same. It's the only time you think he's like he's honest, but he's not really, because it just spins the other way. But recognize these things. These will trip people up. I can't tell you how many times people will see a 3 in front of the X and really think that it's getting bigger, like spreading out. It's not. It's actually gonna be shrinking. Your X is consistently lying every single time. It does the opposite, because it's math. It's not, once it starts doing something, it's gonna do it.
Just something I can purposely ignore text for 2 hours.
Good thing.
Oh, good.
You good?
My bad. I was doing homework. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
I was sleeping.
Oh, you tried calling me? Sorry, I was sleeping.
I was drowning my food.
Yep. Didn't have my phone with me.
Oh,
Like that's it.
That's a good
that's
one.
a, oh, I think that lie.
Oh,
I actually like leaving my phone too, just
is that,
for that occasion.
you good?
Me?
Yeah.
Dude, listen, sometimes they be really, really needy and you just want some time to yourself. So
Am I the
you
only
just
person?
chuck your phone somewhere in your room and leave.
Are you the only person? No, we're people.
No,
You're
cause
in
like,
peace.
no, cause like, if I like on my phone, I see someone calling me, I really put them on like, I would like not answer. I'd be like. I'm not-
See, put my phone on.
But I don't
Is it-
check it though, like, I'm
phone
still on it, I just put them like, you know.
See, that's even worse. You're actually physically aware. I'm not doing something.
It's all good.
I'm like out with the homies or with my family or something. You out here like, oh, I see you trying to call me, but I'm gonna finish this YouTube video first.
No, so like somebody's calling me, you know the little message thing, you can be like,
My
hey,
my
call me
sister
later.
will call me on
No,
Messenger
I don't even
at our
text
house,
them.
and I'll just straight up
Literally, my
ignore it.
last text I got was,
I won't answer her at all.
I don't know how I can do it. Everybody's got this?
Yeah.
If not, you have part of the notes? All right, good. Make sure I sent it to the right person.
What was that?
I wrote down notes to make sure, because if I don't manipulate
No,
this thing
Board
somewhere.
froze. Let's
No, I
go.
didn't.
You did.
I didn't change the page, I made sure that it sent the notes to my inbox.
Oh. We get to take another quiz.
Yep. Let's see what what is the 2 actually doing now? I'll show you the first one. It says +2, right? Is it horizontal or vertical? It's horizontal, it's inside. So if it says +2, is it really adding 2 to the function?
No, it's subtracting.
It's subtracting because it's with the X, because
Yeah.
it's lying. If it's outside with the Y, it's honest. If it's inside, it's lying to you.
Yo, that's so cool. Dang. So 2 is really doubling on X.
So if it's outside of it, it says +2, it's actually doing it.
Then it's actually doing it. Why you like things? They're honest. X is a liar.
Dang. This is kind of like a fun, like, mind.
Yeah, like you like really get into the math. Math can be awesome because like it really works with so much stuff in life.
So it's funny you say that, dude. You're creating so many. This is great.
it's like,
No, I was straight up having a conversation with somebody because I kid you not, I have all A's in all my other classes other than this one, so I've been completely lazy. I have not done an ounce of work. And I was talking to him, he was like, yeah, if you get really into it, it can be really fun. And then you said the exact same thing, and it just went full loop, and that's really cool. I don't know if y'all understand that, but
I do, it does.
I bet I just made 100, easy. Put it in the grade book, coach.
Don't put this in the grade book.
But he's right. He got it, he understands it. By the way, I hate the word helping. I can't even say it. Like I can read it, I know that.
That happened.
I
No,
can't say it
no,
right.
you can't say the F because it's with a V. You have to say have.
Yes, and if I don't pronounce the L, it's like I just have something.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's what it sounds like,
Not
but
I just lost half of it. So it's,
You gotta say having, but then you gotta find like the perfect place to put the L.
yeah, I can't, I do my, sometimes I'll do like a lot of extra work to avoid having to pronounce that word, because I can't do it right. And then I really feel inaccurate, because like Mr. Caldwell, like, will do this stuff, and he will handle it, and I'll be like, he just said that word like it was nothing. Like it was part of the English language that he's always been using. Apparently, yes, he has. And I'm like, I can't do that. My whole self-esteem shatters because I can't say a single word. But like I knew when I was in first grade, not a big deal. Boop, ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. Yep. Good.
Oh, was that not? Yo, that's crazy.
All right, there's a number of y'all that are messing this up, so I'm gonna have to fix this a little bit. I'm gonna share the screen so that certain people know they have to pay attention. Stay with me.
Hey.
Oh no.
Know that you have to pay attention. Or not, know that you're awesome, one of those two. Know that you're somewhere in between awesome and having to pay attention. Because in like 2 minutes, we're all gonna be awesome.
Let's go.
All right, look, it's the same one, just put it right back there. This guy here, he's with the X. That 2 is with the X. Lying to you. What's the opposite of adding 2? Subtracting 2. So it's subtracting 2.
Oh,
There's 2 steps. Is it with the X or is it out there by themselves? By themselves, outside, honest. With the X, liar. Right? That -2 is outside of the absolute value symbol. So he's honest. It says -2. It is gonna be -2. Does that make sense? Like, it's a 2-step process. Which is why when I'm like, when they're all going at the same time, I will separate. I will do all the horizontals and then all the verticals, or all the verticals and the horizontals. There's actually a couple of different ways you can do transformations. You're gonna be like a personal preference thing. This guy, +2 by itself, it's outside. So it's gonna do +2, because that's what it says. Liar, right? It's inside. The opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. That is doubling the function. Inside, liar. The opposite of times 2 is divide by 2. Right? Inside, liar. The opposite of subtracting is adding. So it literally is doing the exact opposite thing. And outside, honest, multiplying by 2. Is that better? That makes sense. You have to stop and say, is it with the X? Is it lying to me? And literally it's just boom, flip other side. You guys can't see my poster because
do
you're
you,
not
do you
seeing it.
mind if I say like a thing that helps me with this one?
Go for it.
So like, you know how I was saying the horizontal, if you're inside, you're sleeping, if you're not, you're outside, you're vertical, right? Think of it as, if you inside with the X, right? And you asking him, right? Keeping the lie, right? But if he's not there with her, then he's like, yeet, I'm gonna do what I want. That makes sense? Yeah. So if he's in there with the X, there's gonna be some lying. If not, he gonna do what he wants. Boom, bam. That's really works for me.
That. Everybody's okay? Got it. Next page. All right, now, this is where we get into the nitty gritty. And this is where it starts getting like that is the foundation. You get those 2 things down, you get most of it. Now we're talking about like what they actually do. There's really 3 big things that they can do. They can reflect. Reflect is also flipping. They can literally spin, whatever way you want to look at it. And that is multiplied by a negative. Now I have a bunch of little bullet holes here, but really, multiplying by a negative. Whenever you multiply, the sign does something different than the value, and you have to separate them. Go with me on this? So if I'm multiplying by -3, the 3 does its own thing, the negative does its own thing. All right? And I treat them separately. A negative literally just takes things over here and puts them over there, right? It doesn't change its shape. It doesn't change what's going on. It reflects it, mirrors it, spins it, flips it, rotates it. Think of other words that will get to the same place, right? And whatever's over here, it'll send it over there. Or whatever's up here will send down there. Because it can either flip it up and down or it can flip it side to side. Horizontals flip side to side, which, by the way, if your function's even, doesn't matter. All right, verticals flip up and down. Go with me on that? Because that changes a vertical thing. Multiplying by a big number being anything larger than 1, an improper fraction or 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, right? That causes a stretch. So literally, if I'm going this way and I'm getting twice as tall each time, I'll get twice as tall as that each time. So if I went like this, I'll then go, right? It literally stretches it out, almost like a rubber band would be stretched. The bigger you are, the more you stretch.
The more it snaps.
Yeah. You're talking about the pain afterwards. That's when you're done with the math problem. Okay. The smaller, like it's getting smaller, it's gonna get smaller faster, right? It's more extreme. It literally is, it's like multiplying things. If I multiply by a proper fractions are like division, right? If I multiply by a half, that's like dividing it by 2. It literally takes the graph and makes it half as tall or as wide, right? Adding and subtracting shifts or moves the function. So if I'm like the absolute value symbol or absolute value graph right here, and I subtract 2 from it horizontally in here, I move it that way, I just literally, everything stays the same, I just shift the whole thing. Make sense? If I multiply by a negative on the outside, I would flip it here. Right now, it's the exact same thing, but it's upside down. That's how you get an absolute value to be upside down. Put a negative in front of it. Or, this is the one that's not exciting. I put a negative inside absolute value. I look the same. Well, if I had a face in the back of my head, I would look the same. But, because it's an even function, so it's not a big deal. Multiplying changes how wide and steep I am. Multiplying by a number changes how wide. Multiply by a negative changes me this way usually. And I can move around. And I can get to every single absolute value function from that. This last thing, and here's how it goes, all right? I don't really want to erase those. So they follow kind of order of operations, and I do this like with sports, all right? You can do all verticals and all horizontals, or all horizontals and then verticals, right? You can separate them or you can combine them, right? So know that when I say these things about order, you can do one direction at a time, or you can just go how the transformations work, whatever is best for you. Either way, amongst the verticals or amongst the horizontals, or when you combine them, you have to do them in this order. You have to reflect, stretch and shrink, and then shift last. And this is how I think about those things. It's because I played sports like my entire life. When I say my entire life, I don't know if that's true. When did I start doing any sports whatsoever? Since, no,
Middle school.
I started playing hockey about as soon as I could walk.
Was it actually for, was it?
I was in Massachusetts, yeah, I was 13. Little
Oh,
league
you
hockey.
didn't?
Everyone played little league hockey.
Wait, where
How
were
many
you?
fights did you
Massachusetts.
do?
I was
Massachusetts.
So you from Massachusetts?
I was like 5 years old and I was our team's enforcer. My job before every single game, and I don't know that like my coach, like he did like the 5-year-old group, and he did the, we're getting ready to go to college group. So like, he treated us like we were a lot older than he should have. But before every single game, he'd take me to the side, he'd say, all right, you see their number 7? Oh, yeah, he said, if he scores more than 1 goal, we need him to not be playing. So I wouldn't like hurt him because it's hockey, like fighting ourselves a part of hockey, believe it or not. It's like, and
Smacking people.
And my other job was, and he was like, we had a kid, I can't remember what our center's name was now, but my job was to make sure that nobody messed with him. Nobody messed with him, and I had to see if I could aggravate and get to their guy. So when their center, whoever their best player was, came to our side of the ice, my job was to get in his way, hit him, didn't matter what was going on with the puck. Because I was a defenseman, I wasn't gonna be scoring anyways, right? And my job was to make sure that he did not take over the game. And if I could, like if I could get us both, like get him hooked for some type of penalty, or I can get us both into the penalty box for fighting with that was like all golden. Woohoo, good stuff. The other thing was if anyone started messing with our best player, yeah, like it's like strategic. If anyone started messing with our best player, like if some kid came over and like try to like bully him or try to like do what I was doing to their team, my job was to get in between and make sure that our guy never got any penalties for anything like that.
So you enjoy.
That's what an enforcer does.
Yeah.
And it was a different world of hockey. Like they've started babying a lot of sports since then.
You know, no wonder you seem so humble now. You probably got like all the anger you could out.
Yeah, and like
5.
and
Lucky
like
you.
like most people know, like most enforcers are not necessarily the biggest, toughest guys, because I wasn't. But what I was like not scared because I was the youngest of a long list of like, well, I say long list, there were 3 of them, but they were all rough kids.
Would you go at them like just head on full speed?
Yeah, and I was like,
So
because like the point was not, am I going to get like beat up or not? The point was, if you mess with my best player, we're both gonna be in the penalty box for 5 minutes and no one else is gonna mess with him. So it was like, you're gonna have to beat me up to get to him. And most of the kids, they were gonna be able to beat me up. That's not true. About half of them were gonna be able to beat me up, but they were gonna get to him, but they weren't gonna get to him. And when I was messing with their best player, I didn't have to win the fight. I had to get into the fight. Because then the referee blows the whistle, we both go off for a while.
Really, I didn't have to win it.
Yes, I just had to get into it. That's all I had to do. Make sure that person fought back.
Did anybody like slam somebody so hard that they shattered one of the side panel glasses? I don't know if you've seen
No,
those videos of nowadays.
we were like this tall.
Oh,
yeah,
That would've been funny.
But like, and I was like, it was like, I went back and watched my nephews play hockey afterwards, and I was like, they like touched each other, and they blew the whistle, and my sister was like, yeah, it's not like when we were kids. Because they used to let you like, they were like, it's hockey, but you have to know that. When you go, when you go. learn how to
no,
play?
straight up, the world sucks nowadays. You can't do nothing.
All
So,
right,
like,
so.
they can't touch each other? Like, what?
No, they do, but like, they're not allowed to do anything past like hip checks and things like that now. And I was like, man, we would not be like, we would keep track of how many people we knocked on their butts in every single game. And like, you get like extra sticker or ice cream cone at the end of it for who had, who had the most knockdowns today. He gets the McDonald's.
Most knocks. Most knocks.
Oh. I mean, that's the type of stuff we did. I don't know. So I played sports like my entire life. And this is how I remember transformations. You ready?
Yeah.
Step 1 in any sport is to reflect. Even if you don't like the whole intellectual work, you know that. You go into any sport, you go into it, you have goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling, it was always, this year, I'm going to win a state championship.
I played basketball. I was like, always like.
Yeah, like even something like, hey, even if you're on the lowest level, you're like, this year, I'm going to get a basket or a touchdown or an interception or whatever it is. You start off with goals, right? That's reflecting. I take care of all the negatives. There's another way of dealing with it. In order to go out there and play that sport, you have to like push all the people that tell you you can't do it out of your mind first. Otherwise, that was a big thing with wrestling, because like you have to get over a lot of like self-doubt and all that stuff, because you're going to be out there in the middle of the match and everyone's going to be watching you. And there's like so many things that can go wrong. You lose there, everyone knows everything that you did about losing, right? There's nothing worse than going to school the day after you got slammed on your back in front of the whole school. It happens. Not to me, but it happens to everybody.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever gotten thrown. That's not true. My junior year, we were wrestling Camden, and I walked out there and got thrown straight to my back for like first 10 seconds. I won the match. And it was like one of my friends, like it was really bad because it was a kid that like grew up in Blue Golf and was like one of our better athletes, and he moved to Camden at the end of middle school. And we were friends, and he was really, really big, strong and athletic, and I was fast and like slick, I guess, in wrestling. And I went, and I knew that he was a really, really good thrower. And I like misjudged one thing. He threw me on my back, and I was like, "Oh, great!" The whole time, and he was like out there. He's like, "How'd you fall for that?" And I was like, we have conversations. Like I don't know. I did a lot of like trash talking in wrestling. I was like a basketball player in wrestling. And I was like, "I don't know. You're not gonna win." Oh, sorry, you're not gonna win. And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I got myself out of bounds, and I think I beat him like 10-7, 12-7, something like that. I came back, I showed him it wasn't gonna work. But I was like, the first thing that went through my mind is junior year, wrestling Camden. We have a huge crowd here. It was at home. I'm supposed to be one of the better wrestlers, and and we're supposed to destroy Camden. That year, we beat them 79 to -2.
Dang.
We destroyed them. Right? We were good. Like I was on a gym lobby. I'm on the state championship teams, like all of them, right? We were really, really good. They weren't supposed to score. That was a big thing going in. It's like we're going to like see if we can break a state record against Camden, because then it gets stuck in the record books for all the time. And I walked out there, and I was part of we're gonna break a state record against Camden because that'll be awesome. Put them in the record book that way. And then I walked out and got thrown to my back. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be because every single match we had that year, 98, we were awesome. Every single match going in, it was like, all right, who's going to be the person on this team that loses and messes up this match? Because there's always going to be more than one person on our team losing. And I was like, it can't be me.
How they
Not
get
against me.
negative points?
One of their kids from, Camden, they couldn't handle losing. And I can't remember what they did. They like said something and or punched one of our guys or whatever after the match was over. So they lost 2 team points. They didn't have any team points to lose, so they still lost some. We were good, like scary good. All right, so I have to reflect. I need goals. Ready? You all are distracting me too well. You need goals first. Reflect. Deal with all your negatives. Get all your negative thoughts out. That's the first thing. The second thing you have to do, you guys that play sports know this, you got to stretch. Oh, yeah. They're going to get mad at you if you don't. It's like the chance for like the coach to like breathe and get organized for what he's going to do in the practice and talk to the other coaches. Yeah, but you got to stretch, right? So I reflect, I come in with goals. The beginning of almost every practice is stretching. So I remember that for transformations. And then I'm ready to move, which is shifting. Shifting is moving. That makes sense?
Yeah, it's
You can also see,
shifting.
you can also see stretching and shrinking as getting into shape. Because then what I'm actually doing with the function, let's say it's a quadratic, it'll be here, right? If it gets reflected, it'll be here. But if it doesn't, it's still here, right? It'll stretch or shrink, which means it's going to be moving like how wide or how skinny it is. I get it into shape, and then I'm ready to move. The last thing I do is I shift it into position, wherever it ends up going. That makes a little bit of sense? And I think of it that way. I think, all right, got to set goals, reflect, deal with all my negatives. I didn't want to put my negative, I do that first. And now, all right, now I'm going to deal with multiplication. It kind of follows order of operations. Then after that, I do all my multiplication, all right? That's getting it into shape. I get the shape of the function down before I even let it move anywhere. Get it down, figure out exactly how it's going to change from one spot to the other, and then I shift it. Okay-ish? Ready? We're gonna do it. That's just paperwork version. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm gonna show you how they actually work. to be able to get that button.
Absolute value.
Ooh,
So the green is gonna be the parent function, right? This pink one's gonna be how it's changed. Y'all see like these, the A, B, H, and K are not going to be numbers.
The dark brush.
you
Hit the wrench, reverse contrast. Over there by the plus minus, see the wrench? Reverse contrast. You can do, Desmos has all kinds of settings built in. All right, ready? So the very first thing I have is this A that's gonna be in front. Now, here's a nice thing why I started us with an even function. In fact, every function up there that's even, a horizontal reflection doesn't do anything. If it's an even function there, if it's an absolute value, doesn't do anything. Quadratic is even. If I flip myself this way, I'm the same function. That's what even functions are, right? That's it for even functions. So even functions, the horizontal flip doesn't do anything. And that's usually, we'll hold that off until like midway through the class. We'll get really good at transformations before we start having horizontal flips. That might not be 100% true because I might throw some in with some step functions. We'll see.
Come on. But that's the one where it just mirrors though, right? That's
Yeah,
what you mean
it
by-
literally is just
Oh,
flipping.
so then it would just go like.
Yeah, so like all those little lines would just go the other way.
Alright.
But we typically will do it with a vertical because a vertical can do most of those things.
Yeah.
All right, and that's literally all it does. Look here, boom. That A, I'm supposed to be playing, there it goes. Negative, it goes down. Positive, it just doesn't do it. So if it's a negative, it literally just flips it over the x-axis. It flips it over the opposite axis. So it vertically flips it. That's cool. Okay, y'all should be able to hit play and pause on different ones. This B, the number in front of it, watch, if it's bigger than 1, oh, let me make it negative again. And positive. Y'all see it, the pinkish purple thing is gonna be how I've changed. If I'm bigger than 1, notice all I've done is I've stretched up, I've stretched vertically. I've gone from here to that.
Wait,
The green is the parent
okay,
function.
alright.
All right, I always say like that's twice as skinny or twice as tall. Every single
Yes,
point is
okay.
twice as tall. Notice at -2, when x is 2, I would be at 2, right? Twice as tall, now I'm gonna be at 4. Right? If x was 3, there's 3 right there. Come on, you know, I'm at right at 3, right? Twice as tall, now I'm gonna be at 6.
Mhm.
So I'm going twice as fast up and down. And all the way up, I think I get it go bigger. And then if I do a fraction, like here's 0.75, I'm gonna be going 3/4 as high. So literally, I just know parents like this, 3/4 as high, will be like that. That make sense? Like literally, I've just changed the slope of that thing, and I'm going 3/4 is fine. There's a half as tall. That's just 1/4 as tall. I think it's as low as I got, right? It literally just shrinks it up or stretches it up or shrinks it down. Put that back to 1. Notice this H. I have minus in there, so that's the opposite of the H. It literally just moves it left and right. Notice that's all it does to the function, just moves it left and right. You guys can play with all the different settings because y'all have the same graphs in there, right?
Yep.
You have the little play bars and all that.
Yep.
The K adding on the outside literally just moves it up and down. I'm gonna move this back to 1. I mean 0. Right? On the outside, literally just moves the function up and down. That's all it does. And you can change the speeds and hit play, like see how they all change together. That's kind of fun sometimes. Like literally you can have the graph going all over the place.
Oh my Lord.
Just because it's fun to do. And realize those are just shifts. It's the same, notice it's the same graph everywhere. Once I know that shape, adding or subtracting anywhere doesn't change the shape of the graph. It just changes where it starts.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that B is, Stretching?
If it's bigger than one, it stretches. So if it's big, like there's 2, 4, 5, right? It is a multiplier. So here it's at 3. It's 3 times as tall everywhere.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know why, but because I'm seeing it with this shape, I see it as shrinking. But there again, you're saying getting taller, so I see what you're talking about, but I know that I'm gonna get confused.
I don't want to mess this up, but if I put that B in there with the X,
Mm-hmm.
so like this, right, let's say, here, it's 3. That's a 3 outside there, right?
Yeah.
If it were to be inside, positive 3 multiplying doesn't do anything different inside the absolute value.
Mhm.
Now, it's at 3 times the X, which means it's really doing what?
Having, so.
Well, not
it's
having, it's dividing by 3, right? It's also 3 times as skinny.
Okay.
That makes sense, and that's how they kind of go together. So yes, a lot of these functions, not absolutely all of them, but a lot of these functions, if I stretch vertically, I've also shrunk horizontally.
Okay.
That makes sense, which is why they kind of work oppositely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that oppositely is a word. It should be. Right, but that's how they work together.
Yeah.
Right, so like if I was expanding with the X, I've actually gotten shorter, or at least I appear to be getting shorter. I'm also shrinking vertically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how a lot of these work together. That's one of the reasons why we're not doing with linears, because with linears, there's nothing there around the X. Also, the reason why you don't get top transformations in algebra 1 usually, a linear function, which is most of algebra 1, is just an X there. There's no way to get inside or outside. It just is. So every single transformation is both horizontal and vertical, which gets confusing. All right, are we mostly okay with this? Y'all wanna, I'll give y'all like another 40 seconds or so to like mess with it. Explore something, change something, see how something works.
Right. Now which one is it? This is,
See the turning button?
yeah, or
I
either.
think it hit it the second time too. Like there it is, it goes again. Which is ridiculous. It's like, I just hit turn it in. Why do I have to turn it in again? Yeah.
Well, it's because you can turn it into different folders.
Oh, the default will work usually just
We
fine.
never finished the circle thing yesterday.
Yo, what'd you just say? What circle thing?
Your team
You were
said
asleep.
do domain and range and stuff.
Oh, so you look left to right?
Listen, I don't appreciate
Do
you calling
interval
me
up and
out.
down. I put a video on YouTube and put a link into the Google Classroom where I talk about the interval for domain and range. It's the same idea. Now I don't remember what I was saying in class for the circle. It wasn't like
We
this.
didn't even honestly start.
It wasn't
Spelled
a,
wrong yesterday.
I remember getting to the circles was like a supplement, like if I have time and I can get to it, awesome. If I didn't, it wasn't gonna hurt us.
Alright,
Um,
so what about the homework problem?
So domain and range goes from one edge to the other. Domain goes this way. How far to the left does it go? How far to the right? Range is how far from the bottom up to the top, right? So you're gonna see the top of the circle, the bottom of the circle, that's the range. Left side of the circle to the right side of the circle is the domain. No circles are gonna be 1-to-1, because as soon as I get in there, I'm gonna be hitting it in 2 spots.
So basically form
And
interval notation.
yeah, that's the easiest thing. You could do like a compound inequality for the set builder, but interval notation is usually like the easy thing to do with the circles. Because it really is, a circle is defined by a small interval. And then, trying to remember, the one on the left was even because it flipped over the y-axis. It was centered up on there, if I remember correctly. And the one on the right was neither. It technically would have had x-axis symmetry, but we don't care about that because neither of those were functions.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing with that. The circles were to see who would freak out and who would like figure things out. Sometimes it's good to know who's gonna freak out, who's gonna like struggle through it. and then see how you react when you freak out. Every now and then I do that. I'll throw you a problem and be like, all right, we're gonna see who can dig and like figure out this thing and who's gonna just be like, I got nothing. Yes. All right, let's go over here now. I don't remember what I was at. Oh, now I'm gonna put distraction things up here. Oh my God. It's all about the number 2. What does that number 2 do? Is it vertical or horizontal? You guys got this. This is not like new. This is like today new. But earlier today new. Just look at the number 2.
I need some help here.
Yeah.
So we still stick with the number 2.
Well, that's what I think that's what I have the whole time.
Wouldn't it be?
I got this. This is
Easy. Yeah, because I tried doing the number 2, number 2 the whole way through. Try doing number 2 just to be like, that way I can isolate everything and just like, look, just look at this one number. Math is never hard with 2. So,
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, 2 make the vertical transformation, or it's outside?
it's outside vertical, yes. Outside vertical, inside horizontal.
Don't overthink it. You overthink it, you stumble.
Yes.
Ooh, whether it stretches or it shrinks. If it's adding and it's outside, which means it's the true one, is a little way to look at food. And it adds, isn't that a shift? I'm gonna go with the shift, bro. Let's go. You see where that fits? Yo, he's capping. X minus 2, but he's inside the house. He's lying. So which means he shifted. Let's go. Easy peasy.
By the way, those that are doing way better.
Huh?
Those that are doing way better. Like,
That made no sense. What you
People that are
said.
doing their work and doing better. than
I have a
people
number of
that are not.
virtual people that
Oh,
aren't doing anything.
dude, I don't know why
No, well,
I don't
I
know
have
why you're surprised, dude.
most of my virtuals that were doing stuff aren't now.
Well, see, they know that option 3 is a thing, but they're also not gonna get punished for not being there, so it doesn't matter. I don't,
Yeah, but they are.
I hear it all the time.
They're not getting punished with attendance. They're gonna.
Okay, they're getting punished for the grades, yes,
That's gonna.
but if they turn it in the same day though, not really though, right?
I'm talking about tests and quizzes.
Oh, testing quizzes.
Like that's what's gonna kill them. They're going to, think they're doing just fine because they're not doing hardly anything, and then test comes, and their mom's gonna say, why did they make it 15?
That's almost like.
And I'm gonna say, because I was generous and put a bonus question on there.
Vertical shift,
Those are my favorite conversations.
It's definitely vertical. I'm gonna go with the stretch.
Well, we have something that are tricking some people finally, so that's good.
So it's inside, which means it's lying.
It is.
I don't know how I do it.
Here, go back a little bit. Go back number 5.
Yeah. I think I might have roughly. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just so hungry.
There you go. Okay. You were doing awesome. Don't start just rushing through and clicking things.
That's all I'm doing. I was like,
Yeah, you get 5, 6, and 7. You were going too fast. No, now you're good on 5. Look at 6 and 7. You're going too fast. You can do them. I'm not going to tell you how to do them.
All right, I think I got it. How did I do, teacher?
You're doing fine.
Me? Yes. Let's go.
Go back to 5. Go back to 5 is less than B.
Is it shit?
Because adding and subtracting,
Oh,
adding and subtracting
my
shifts.
God.
Adding and subtracting shifts.
I almost missed my bus this morning.
What were you doing?
Sleeping. I had 3 alarms, slept 2. Set.
Set.
What are
One of
your
those
alarms?
words.
I had one at 5:45, one at 6, and one at 6:05. Because if I'm not up at 6:05, I am doomed. I woke up at 6:40. I had 10 minutes.
Everybody has like the family of functions written down somewhere, right?
Oh, I took a picture of that.
I did
Right.
that.
Okay, good, so I'm getting ready to erase it in like,
Wait, wait,
Hopefully.
wait, wait, we did one more. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I had to take a picture of it with the names. I hope you didn't mind, just I was doing that earlier.
Okay, we're good.
you take as many notes, however you like, for as much as you want. I've gotten into 1, 2, 3 really good arguments with teachers about student notes. And I haven't considered myself as losing any of them.
The funny thing
What
is,
was the arguments about? I would like to know those.
I said, the dumbest thing I've ever seen is a teacher that actually cared what their students wrote down for notes. They're not your notes. Why does it matter what they write down and how they write things down? That's retarded, or something like that. This was like a long time ago when you're allowed to say that.
You can't say that now.
Yeah, I know. I think that also offended the teacher though. And I knew that the teacher was one of those that says, like, she literally would print out note forms and like, you have to write this word in this spot and this word in that
Yeah, I
spot.
do that last year.
Yeah,
Didn't we also do that back in Alpha 1?
probably.
Miss Donald, she's that way, but she's.
Oh,
not
no,
like
it
me
wasn't
about
bad.
it.
Well, like this, I knew this teacher would go by and like grade whether or not they did exactly right on their notes.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's
And the study
stupid.
guides.
yeah, and I said a bunch of things that weren't polite at that point. I was like,
And if your
there's a
work
reason
didn't-
why I don't teach first grade.
If your work wasn't exactly like the notes will be, you lose like 5 points.
Yeah.
I hated when teachers were nitpicky.
I also was, something else I said about like about, I think other things that I said. I didn't understand why you would have them turn in their notes. Don't you already know the material? You don't need their notes. I made it insulting. I wasn't nice. But it's serious, like your notes are for you and I don't, like by this stage in the game, you should have like some idea of how you learn. And people are different. So like my structured way of writing things out might not be doing anything other than wasting your time. You might be I need a big picture or an analogy in order to make things work. Or the analogy making things work might not work at all for you. You need to have a structured, write it down line. Like, you're allowed to be you, and why would I make you waste your time doing something that doesn't work for your brain? Right? That was the nice side of what I said. Every single argument and fight.
yeah, no, I hate how you can't actually have true arguments or fights in school anymore. Because then nothing ends up getting solved and there's just
Like-
beef.
Yeah, that's something.
That annoys me.
All right, so here's, what was I getting ready to do? Oh, here's how I like to think about this a little bit. So if I have 2x, right? If I'm putting in numbers for x, the amount of change depends on what x is, right? On what this 2 does. How much has been changed depends on x. Go with me? Right? If x is big, if x is 100, that 2 just made 100 things bigger. Right? If x is a half, 2 times a half is just 1, it just made it a half bigger. Right? So change depends on x. And I think of that as kind of like a rubber band. Like if I pull out a rubber band, like how much it stretches depends on the rubber band, or how much strength it takes, and like all that good stuff. So that's why it is a stretch. And that multiplication is a stretch thing. Multiplication by like a big number is a stretch thing. Multiplication by a fraction is a shrink thing, right? In division, dividing by 3 makes things smaller. That's why it's a stretch shrink. However, if I have 2, let's go x plus 2. If I add 2 to something, it doesn't matter what X is, it's gone up 2 spots, or it's gone over 2 spots. Sorry, it's gone up 2 spots, or it's gone over 2 spots. Addition, subtraction doesn't depend on the other value. It's kind of an independent operation, right? If X is 100, and I add 2 to it, I've just gone over 2. If X is 0.5, and I add 2 to it, I've still just gone over 2. That makes sense? So it's, change is the same everywhere. Just a shift. So it's, I'm just trying to explain this differently so that people will like solidify it.
Yeah, but you better hurry up.
Oh, yeah,
This is
yeah.
like my summation talk.
This.
Hold on.
All right, Monday, we're gonna like see functions and graph them, no problem. Just, we're gonna look at the function, just like, oh, this is where it is.
Let's graph it.
Yes, like as fast as Desmos graphs it.
Mhm.
Like literally, when you get really good at this stuff and like you see it, and we practice it enough, it will save time and energy and be easier just to graph it on paper than it will be to go like type it into something.
Okay, but see, that would be a shift. Let's say down is negative and up is positive. That'd be a shift up, right? Or shift,
Yes.
right?
If it was vertical, and this is, by itself is linear, and that's why I said linears are not so fun, because they could all be vertical or horizontal. Because I could think, oh, the thing is there, that makes it horizontal. That
Well,
means
no,
it's
not
away.
necessarily, because if it's inside, then that means it's horizontal. If it's outside, that means it's
That's what I
vertical.
said, so it could be here, like I'm inside,
Yeah,
or it could be there, and
yeah,
now I'm outside. Now, here's where it gets interesting.
uh-huh,
So if I have a line,
Yeah.
x plus 2.
Yeah.
It is actually this function, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1.
Yeah.
So it actually hits there. Right?
uh-huh,
It was here,
yeah,
it went up 2,
mm-hmm,
like it's vertical. It also went to the left 2, like it's horizontal. It does both of those transformations.
well, yeah, well, that's just because it's a line.
Yes.
It goes both
Which is
ways.
why y'all haven't seen transformations, I hope, before this class. Because most of Algebra 1 is dealing with lines.
So I don't think they go that much into detail.
I think they start to like mention something about
Yes.
translations and some things a
Yeah.
little bit, especially it's like the other functions.
They had
They
us
don't
do
usually-
translation of numbers. They never had us mess with the graphing part. I
Yes.
don't,
And some of it's because it's ambiguous, like I can move it any way and we're gonna get to the same spot. Now, when you have the cube root function, it all matters, right? Like you have to get that curve going right and you have to actually see it. But it's really, really like empowering when you can do it all and see it all at once, if that makes any sense. Really, really cool.
oh, man.
Because you'll be like, oh yeah, 2 times the square root of x plus 5. That's not exactly what that looks like. Actually, sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like that. And you want the plot points or anything like that. It'll be helpful. Hopefully you guys looked in there and fixed everything. Most part we're doing good. Some people are struggling, but
What did I get out of the limit?
Oh, all right, 100%.
I got a 0 because I was sick and didn't take the test. But either way, like, y'all feel kind of comfortable? It's okay, on Monday, we come in and start graphing this stuff and like really using it. That's what we're going to do. And my clock is fast.
Well, we got a few minutes to break.
Yeah.
Virtuals, y'all are free to go.
I love it the minute he just, the minute he says free to go, they're just like,
That was me.
that was me too.
Like low-key, I was paying attention just enough to like hear the important stuff, and then
Yeah.
as soon as they said the keywords, okay.
You can leave. I'm just like, all right, bye.
Is quarantine still classified as like option 3, where you don't have to join the Zoom?
Okay, so
Because like when I was quarantined last semester, I didn't join a single Zoom.
Yeah, I don't know.
it depends on the teachers because I didn't join the Zooms and they were like, well, you would have been able to do the work if you were actually joining our
Well,
Zoom
I did the
calls.
work, I just didn't join. the
I
Zoom.
know like COVID positive test is like option, it's like literally being sick, because like you're technically legally sick.
Yeah, they don't want you doing homework while you're sick. They'd
On
rather you recover.
On that note, I can't tell you how many times administration has like had to remind teachers, like, no, if they have a positive test, they are sick. You cannot say they have to do all of this live with you when they are sick. And the teachers,
That's
I
what
would
I'm
have
saying.
joined if
what
I
are you
was
talking
sick.
about?
Even the teachers don't know the rules, and 2, if they do know the rules, they keep bending them.
I mean, they
And that's
should,
what bothers me.
they should, well,
And I'm not talking about bending them in a good way, I'm talking about in a bad way.